Hey, what's up, you guys? I wanted to make our weekly TA video here this afternoon to kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking at going ahead this week and kind of into next week, which is a very key week with the elections here in the United States. So there's a lot happening right now, and I kind of want to show you a couple different scenarios that could play out. Right now, I'm not taking very many futures or leverage trade. I'm mostly just sitting in spot right now. If you saw my video earlier today, I talked about I'm kind of just waiting to see what happens because I think that we're going to see a lot of whipsaw action back and forth in the next coming days. We have about 9 days until the election. So, and we're also heading up to new all-time highs. And anytime we get to all-time highs, usually see a lot of volatility. When we break highs, a lot of times we'll dump for like 5% in the same day before we retrace back ultimately back to the all-time high. So if we zoom out here on the monthly chart, we look amazing. This looks like the most bullish chart I've seen, and this looks just on a high time frame point of view, this looks amazing. So we have to remember that in the long term, this is going up. In the high time frames, this looks still really good. But when we go down to the shorter term, it's when we can start to see a little bit of a trouble, and we want to be very cautious in the next week or so. Now, on the 3-day, this also looks really good. We've broken through this level of resistance here. We've retested it, and now we are breaking back upwards, heading to the next level of resistance, which is this 7. It's a pretty big box, but it's 71.2 all the way to around all-time high at around 73. 7-ish. So this area is the biggest resistance we will have coming up to in the next, maybe a couple days or so. The way we're going right now, it's looking pretty bullish. However, when we get to that area of resistance, we are surely going to, dip, and I don't know how hard. That's the thing. When we get to these areas, usually we see a pretty big sell-off. First time we got here, we then dumped 17% in a matter of a week. Next time we got here, we dipped again, another 10%. We got here again, we dipped another, 16%. So every time we get to this area, we dump pretty hard. And obviously, we do think this time will be different because we'll be past the elections, hopefully. But by the time we get here, we might be still, this could happen in the next day or so, and we could come back up to this level of resistance and then dump, back down to 65,000 and come back up a couple times, all before the elections or even a little bit after next week. So this is something that you kind of want to be careful of. There's no positions I would see to be open on Bitcoin right now. If we did come back down here towards $66,000, maybe after a bit of a push up, if we came back down here, that's a potential area where you could do a long or just buy a spot, which would be more preferable for the short term. But yeah, Bitcoin's looking a little bit, it's looking strong, but it's coming up to this next area of resistance, and this isn't somewhere that I would want to be doing a lot of trading right now, because I think we could see a lot of whipsaw action. I actually wanted to take it back to the last similar thing that we could kind of compare this to, which was the ETF approval of the Bitcoin ETF approval in January of last year. So if we go back to, where is it? If we go back to January 2024, this is the Bitcoin price action that I'm kind of expecting in the next week or so. Now, if you look, this was the start of January. We immediately pumped from the beginning of January up 9% in 10 days, and we equally just dumped the same amount or more in the next day or so. And so you see this huge whipsaw price action up and then down and up and down and up and down, leading up to the ETF, because it's a big news event. And this was at the time our recent high from the past couple of years. So this huge price action of just whipsawing up and forth. And if you look here too, the actual day, January 9th, this is the actual day of the approval. You can see here in the singular day, we went from, a high of 48,000 to a low of around, 44,000. So we had a 8%, daily range in that day. And then we went even higher the next day, and then we went even farther down the day after. So this huge whipsawing, trying to get everyone out of positions, especially leverage traders, and destroying the open interest and destroying, everyone's positions, is kind of what I'm expecting in the next week or so. So if you look at this does not look very fun to trade. Now, if you are a swing trader and you're okay with the huge fluctuations and you're okay being underwater for a little bit, which will probably happen, more power to you. But you have to have an edge in this market to be trading this, and I don't know if very many people do, because these elections and these big kind of catalysts only happen every so often. So that's what going on with Bitcoin. Solana is looking really nice. This is one though that is also coming up to resistance. On the high time frame, it looks amazing, but on the low time frame, on the 4-hour chart, we are coming up to this resistance here, forming a little bit of a double top, but we are consolidating under resistance here, which is always very bullish. So Solana is looking really good, but like I said, a lot of this depends on what happens with Bitcoin this week. So, Solana could continue rallying and go, up towards this next resistance around 184. Very possible, but there's no trades to be taken right now at this resistance because we could very easily just come back down towards, 158 again if Bitcoin, sneezes, which is very possible. So most of these trades aren't things that you want to take right this minute, but something that you probably want to watch for. So you might want to set alerts down here at 160 if we do have a huge sell-off on Bitcoin. Maybe one morning Bitcoin then dumps, $3,000, $4,000, like it could very easily. And you get your entry here at 158, 159 on Solana. So that's something that I'm looking for. Now, conversely, if we do break above this level, it is a level that I would be looking to maybe take a position on. If we then break through this level of resistance and then turn it into support, that is something that I'm looking to trade. Although I don't know if that's something that's going to happen in the next week or so before we make another one of these videos. But that is something I would like to trade if we do get that situation. But more likely, probably just chop here on Solana and just follow along with whatever Bitcoin does. Maybe we come down here and we can get a position or buy more spot if you want to buy more spot. But these are the two levels, or two areas that I'm looking to do trades at. And that's 159 or above 186. Now, moving on, Sui. This is actually one that we put in the Discord the other day, maybe last week. This is one where we had this huge run up for probably a month in October, actually through September as well. And then we had this starting to sell off. We broke down, and then we had an underside retest here of this level. And we expected it to come back down to this big area of support and the area where, the run up began. And so we actually came down here. We've tagged this first area. So this is an area where you could have done a spot buy if you're looking to buy Sui. This is an area where you could buy, and we actually tagged here and we've pumped up from here. However, if we are going to have a bit of volatility this week, I do expect Sui maybe to sell off back down to this level that I'm looking for, and that's the $145 level. This is a major support. You can see it was support here, and then it broke down through it and became resistance. And then we are now using it again as support if we come back down here. So this is a level that I would like to pick up some more Sui spot, or even if you wanted to trade it at 145. Now, just because of the timing of where we are right now with, the election coming up, I'm not taking this exact trade, although this is a good trade to take because your invalidation right here below these wicks. If it doesn't work, you would just then try again right here. But because of where we are in terms of the election cycle, this isn't something I'm looking to take right now. But if you wanted to start a Sui position in terms of spot accumulation, it's not a bad area to start. And then similarly, Aptos, which has also been getting a bit of attention because of Sui as well. On the high time frames, it looks pretty good. It came up through this level of resistance, flipped it into support. And if it comes back down here in the next week or so, this is an area where you could do some accumulation. I have been hearing that Aptos is, maybe going to do a similar Sui kind of run. So if it does something similar to that, maybe something like this from last February, if it does a run up towards $20 again, that could be good for spot accumulation or trade. And so I'd be looking to do that around the $7.83 level to the $8.50 level. And then the one, coin that is doing very well today is Dogecoin. Now this is, a beautiful level reclaim where it broke through resistance, came down, reclaimed the level, and now is heading back to the next level of resistance. And it looks like, you can see it's struggling a little bit, but I'm sure it'll break through here. This isn't something that I would necessarily take a trade on right this second because, it is very strong, so you don't want to short it. But it's also at resistance, so you don't want to buy it right now. If it does come back above this level and then does a retest like this, just like it did here, that is something that I'd like to long potentially. But again, I'm not looking to take very many leverage trades right now. So it's just something that if maybe you were a spot buyer of Doge, that's a good level to buy some spot because it is showing strength. If it can then break through it, come back down and retest. So that's a level. And then WIF, which is one we've talked about before. You can see we've had this sell off. This is the very common distribution top where we have these, highs that get sold into and they get very sharp. And then, you break down you have an underside retest, and then you continue to break down. So I'm looking to pick up some more WIF. I do like WIF for spot. I'm looking to pick up some more if we do come down here to this $2 level, which is the area where it originally broke out. So if it does come down to this level, which I think it might in the next couple of days, depending on how Bitcoin does, if it comes down here, I'm looking to buy some more spot. It is an area that you could do a leverage trade if you want to, but again, same thing. So those are the ones that we're looking at this week. It really all depends on how Bitcoin does. It also kind of looks like right now, Bitcoin has been rallying all day, and it kind of looks like it's been sucking up the liquidity from all the altcoins. Heading into this election, people are kind of uncertain of what to do, and the markets really don't like uncertainty. So the best thing to do is to buy Bitcoin because we know at some point it'll go up. And so that way, I think a lot of the liquidity is being sucked from altcoins and being, sent into Bitcoin, or in this case, Dogecoin as well. So there's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. I'm kind of just waiting and seeing. And a lot of times the best thing to do when trading is just wait and see what happens until you get a little bit more confirmation, and then you have a better setup. So that's what we're looking for this week. Hope this video has helped you guys out. We're going to make another one next Sunday, right before the election. So we'll have a better idea of where Bitcoin is at the time. It could be above 74,000, or it could be, it could have done this by then. And we'll make another video update on Sunday. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you tomorrow.